I will never forget the first day of my first year of teaching. I was teaching fourth grade. My mentor teacher and I had met several times, and we worked very hard to plan that entire day. I wanted it to be perfect for my students and for me. The first day finally arrived. After introductions, it was time to collect school supplies and place them in the storage closet in the back of my classroom. It was right after I asked all of my students to locate their box of Kleenex and place them on top of their desk that one of my students began to weep. I had my back turned toward him, so I instinctively turned to make sure that he was okay, which he was. I wasn't really sure how to respond, but he didn't appear to be hurt, and he wasn't in any physical pain, so I kept collecting boxes of Kleenex. I hoped that by the time I got to his desk, that he would have collected himself and would no longer be crying. But in the end, I got to his desk, where there was no box of Kleenex, and he was sobbing. I assured him that everything would be okay, that he could just bring a box of Kleenex tomorrow, but nothing that I did or said seemed to console him. I eventually had to walk away. I had 23 other students to tend to and more school supplies to collect. What I hoped would be an isolated incident turned out to be an everyday thing. This student seemed to cry at the drop of a hat any time that something did not go well or did not go his way. By the end of the first week of school, I realized I needed to have my first parent-teacher conference. During the second week of school, I met with his parents. They indicated to me that they were fine with the fact that he cried whenever he got upset. They liked the fact that he expressed his emotions. With a little psychoeducation, I was able to help them understand why, from a child development perspective, his crying was not appropriate. That a 9 or 10-year-old should be able to cope with difficult or frustrating situations, and they should be able to express and manage their emotions in a way that doesn't bring negative attention to themselves or disrupt or interfere with the learning environment of others. Working together, and with some parent training provided by the school counselor, we were able to teach the student how to express his emotions appropriately at school and at home and in the community. When all was said and done, his parents thanked the counselor and me for all of the work that we did with him. This experience during my first year of teaching was a pivotal moment for me. It planted the seed for my interest in school psychology. It also introduced me to the power of parent training. Parenting is hard. There are no easy answers or solutions to the questions and the challenges that parents face every day. The majority of parents mean well. They're doing the best that they can with what they know. And most of them are open to learning new skills if it will allow them to be more effective parents. As a doctoral student here at Texas A&M, I had the opportunity to provide parent training in the Counseling and Assessment Clinic under the supervision of Dr. Bill Ray. Using evidence-based, manualized parent training programs, I was able to help the parents that came to the clinic requesting this service. Now, a lot has changed since then. The COVID-19 pandemic, the shutdown that resulted from it, the proliferation of personalized technology, including smartphones, and the rise of social media have created challenges that parents today have to face that previous generations of parents did not. New parent training methods need to be developed. Faculty and students in the Counseling and Assessment Clinic are conducting research to identify the skills and the dispositions that make up effective parenting. And they're applying that research to develop new approaches to parent training that address current societal trends that are impacting families. We are working to answer the question, how do you raise successful kids in the digital age? Based on the work that we've done and the work of other researchers all over the country in the area of child development, 5 basic rules of parenting have surfaced. First, parents must ultimately be the ones that are in charge. They have to be the ones that create the rules, that set limits, and then impose consequences with their children. They have to make decisions based on what will allow their children to be happy and successful in the long term, rather than being tempted to give their children what will make them happy in the short term. Second, parents must prioritize in-person socialization. This means that they must get their children involved in group activities like organized sports and hobbies. They also must develop a social network of other parents who prioritize in-person socializing and who have adopted similar methods of parenting within their household. Third, parents must limit the amount of time that their children spend on screens. Research shows that children should spend no more than 2 hours a day on a screen. So parents must take an active role in helping their children come up with activities to fill the void during those times when they're not allowed to be on screens. Activities like reading a book, writing in a journal, playing with blocks, building something with Legos, listening to music or playing music, or outdoor activities like going for a walk or collecting leaves. Fourth, parents should establish tech-free zones in the house. Tech-free zones are areas of the house where no one, including the adults, are allowed to bring or access personalized technology, including phones, tablets, gaming systems, laptops, or computers. One tech-free zone should be the dining room to facilitate conversation and social interaction among family members during meal times. Another tech-free zone should be the bedroom. Getting a good night's sleep is important for optimal health. So by having the bedroom be a tech-free zone, parents can ensure that their children's sleep is not negatively impacted by the use of technology in the middle of the night. By using technology in the public areas of the house, such as the living room, parents are able to model for their children appropriate use of technology. They also are able to actively monitor their children whenever they're using technology. Finally, parents should delay giving their children a personal phone for as long as possible. And they should not give their children a smartphone until they're at least 16 years old. If parents must give their children a personal phone before the age of 16, then it should be one of those old school cell phones, the kind that allow you to make phone calls and receive text messages and nothing else. And it certainly shouldn't be a phone that has a camera. When parents come to the Counseling and Assessment Clinic requesting parent training, we emphasize these 5 rules. We also acknowledge to them the vulnerability that comes with being a parent and the uncertainty that comes with living in today's world. We help them manage that vulnerability and uncertainty, and we help them become clear in the expectations that they have for their children. We help them develop their own personal value system and help them apply that value system in how they parent. Over time, parents become much more intentional during their interactions with their children, explicitly teaching them their value system and reinforcing those behaviors that align with it. But most importantly, parents come to see their children as human beings who need to feel a sense of love and belonging, but who also need to be connected with others. Thank you.